Be me, Gregory, 26. Living in an apartment in Phoenix, Arizona. I buy wholesale patio furniture for a regional retail chain. My entire life is looking at catalogs of wicker chairs and water-resistant cushions. I am the most boring man alive. I own exactly 4 pairs of identical khaki pants. I researched a toaster oven for 3 weeks before buying it. I have a savings account that I check twice a day just to feel safe. My life is quiet and incredibly predictable, until my college buddy Sebastian decides to get married. Sebastian wants a bachelor party in Las Vegas. I try to get out of it. I tell him I have a thing with my teeth. He tells me to shut up and buy a plane ticket. I hate Vegas. The lights give me a migraine. The smell of stale cigarette smoke and cheap aerosol air freshener makes me nauseous. I hate loud noises. I hate losing money. It is 11 p.m. on a Friday. Sebastian and the other guys are completely feral. They vanish into the neon abyss of some massive nightclub with a line around the block. I tap out. I tell them I'm going to find a bathroom and just keep walking. I wander the casino floor. The carpet looks like someone threw up a kaleidoscope. I find a quiet, dimly lit lounge near the high roller tables. There is a guy playing a piano very softly in the corner. I sit at the bar and order an overpriced bourbon. I just want to sit in the dark. That is where I meet Judy. She is sitting 2 bar stools down from me. She is wearing a silver cocktail dress that looks uncomfortable. She is aggressively peeling the paper label off a brown beer bottle. She has a pile of little torn paper shreds on the napkin in front of her. She looks completely exhausted. I watch her peel the label for a minute. I ask her if she is okay. She stops peeling. She looks at me and lets out this dry, bitter laugh. She tells me she is here for a bachelorette party. Her friends ditched her for some DJ at a pool club. She says she is 25. She manages a custom tile showroom in Denver. She says she is currently experiencing a quarter-life crisis. I ask what kind of tile. She looks at me like I am crazy. She says mostly ceramic, but the travertine is what pays the bills. We click immediately. It is not some movie magic spark-flying romance. It is just the deep, cynical bonding of 2 tired introverts trapped in a sensory nightmare. We start drinking. We talk about how much we hate the music here. We talk about how stupid our jobs are. I tell her about the wicker chairs. She tells me about people who yell at her over grout colors. We switch from bourbon to tequila. She laughs at a joke I make about the bartender's vest. I have not made a girl laugh like that in 3 years. We leave the quiet lounge. We start wandering the strip. The memories after 2 in the morning are completely fractured. It is just a blurry rush of neon lights and aggressive street performers. I remember buying a massive foam cowboy hat from a tourist shop. I remember her stealing the hat and putting it on her head. We are laughing until my ribs literally ache. We stumble past a 24-hour drive through wedding chapel. It has bright pink neon tubing all over the roof. We stop and stare at it. Judy says it would be hilariously ironic to take photos in front of it. I say we should go inside. We walk through the glass doors. The air conditioning is blasting. I don't remember paying the fee. I vaguely remember handing my credit card to a guy in a cheap suit. I remember a bored-looking woman shoving a clipboard in my face. Judy is leaning against my shoulder. She is giggling uncontrollably. She smells like vanilla and tequila. I sign the paper on the clipboard. Someone asks for our IDs. I hand over my Arizona driver's license. I assume it is just for a fake novelty certificate. We take a picture under a plastic flower arch. I wake up at 10 in the morning the next day. My head feels like it has been cracked open with a tire iron. The sunlight is filtering through the cheap hotel curtains. It is blinding. My mouth tastes like copper and terrible decisions. I groan and roll over. Judy is sleeping next to me. She is completely tangled in the white hotel sheets. Panic hits my veins like ice water, cold and sharp. I sit up fast. The room spins. I look down at my left hand. There is a cheap, heavy tungsten ring on my finger. It feels completely foreign. I look at the nightstand next to the bed. There is a half-empty bottle of water. My wallet is thrown open, and there is a pink, officially stamped document from Clark County, Nevada. It has a gold foil seal on it. It is a marriage certificate, legally binding. My name is on it. Her name is on it. I violently shake Judy awake. She groans and tries to pull the pillow over her head. I pull the pillow away. I hold the pink paper in front of her face. She blinks at it with heavy eyes. It takes about 10 seconds for her brain to catch up. She sits up and screams. The next hour is a complete symphony of hyperventilation. We are both swearing loudly. We are doing frantic searches on our phones. We realize exactly what we have done. Nevada does not require a waiting period. We were sober enough to sign our names correctly. The marriage was valid the second the clerk filed it. We are legally husband and wife. She starts pacing the hotel carpet. She is wearing one of my oversized gray t-shirts. She is rubbing her temples with both hands. "Okay, look," she says. Her voice is shaking. "It is fine, Gregory. It is just an annulment. People do this literally every day in this city. We just go to the courthouse down the street. We file the paperwork, and it is like it never happened." I nod quickly. Yes, I say. Yes, we just go sign it away. We get dressed in absolute silence. We are both nursing monumental hangovers. We take an Uber to the family court building. The driver tries to make small talk. We both ignore him. We get to the building. It is massive and gray and depressing. The line inside is agonizingly long. We are standing in a sterile fluorescent-lit hallway. The walls are painted a pale, sickly green. We are surrounded by angry couples and crying children. There is a guy in front of us yelling into his phone about a boat. We take a little paper ticket from a red dispenser. Our number is 94. The screen on the wall says serving number 41. We stand there for 3 hours. My head is throbbing. My feet hurt. And as we stand there shifting our weight, we start talking. Not the drunken, superficial banter from the lounge, but real talking. We talk about how mundane our lives back home are. I tell her about my empty apartment. I tell her about how I sit on my couch and watch documentaries about salt mines because I have nothing else to do. She tells me she goes to the same coffee shop every morning and gets angry if the barista uses the wrong lid. We talk about how everyone expects us to be perfectly predictable. My sister thinks I'm going to die alone, I tell her. My mom tells me I need to lower my standards, Judy whispers. We lean against the pale green wall. I have never done anything spontaneous in my entire life, I confess. I am staring at the scuffed linoleum floor. Me neither, she says. She looks up at me. Her eyes are red-rimmed and tired. But she looks entirely sincere. My life is just emails and traffic, Gregory. That is all it is. Emails and traffic. The bell chimes on the wall. Number 94. We walk up to the front counter. The clerk is an older woman with thick glasses. She looks like she has not smiled since the late 90s. She barely looks at us. She slaps a thick stack of annulment paperwork on the counter. "Sign here, here and here," she says in a flat voice. She points a long acrylic fingernail at 3 red X marks. It will be filed in 48 hours. Once you leave Nevada, it becomes significantly more complicated, so I suggest you do it now. She slides a cheap, plastic blue pen across the counter. It clicks against the glass. I pick up the pen. My hand is sweating. I look at the thick stack of paper. It looks so final. It looks like going back to the wicker chairs. I look at Judy. She is looking back at me. She is biting her bottom lip. She looks scared, but alive. And in that singular, idiotic, hormone-driven moment, my brain just breaks. The sunk cost of the last 24 hours merges with some manic delusion of a romantic movie. What if we didn't, I ask. My voice is barely above a whisper. The clerk sighs loudly. Judy blinks. Didn't what, she asks. Didn't sign it, I say. I put the blue pen down on the counter. What if we just stayed married? What if this wasn't a mistake, Gregory? What if it was the universe actually doing us a favor? What if this is how we skip all the terrible Tinder dates and the awful small talk? She stares at me. Her mouth is slightly open. The guy behind us in line clears his throat aggressively. A slow, reckless smile spreads across her face. "You are insane," she whispers. I agree. I grab her hand. Let's be insane. We do not sign the papers. The clerk calls the next number before we even turn around. We walk out of the courthouse holding hands. The heady glass doors open. The hot Vegas sun hits our faces. We are high on the absolute adrenaline of our own rebellion. It feels like we are the main characters in a movie. We grab burgers at a diner and laugh about how crazy we are. We fly back to our respective states the next morning. I go back to Phoenix. She goes back to Denver. We text constantly. We call each other every night. Within 3 weeks, she breaks her lease in Colorado. She packs all her stuff into a rented SUV. She drives down to Arizona. She moves into my beige stucco apartment. The first 2 months are a total high. The honeymoon phase is fueled entirely by the pure novelty of what we did. We love telling people the story. We tell the guy at the grocery store. We tell the mailman. We love the shocked reactions from our friends. Sebastian thinks I am an absolute legend. He buys us a toaster. We tell our parents. My dad is confused, but supportive. Her mom cries on the phone for an hour, but then sends us a gift card to Bed Bath & Beyond. It feels dangerous and passionate. We are the crazy Vegas couple that actually made it work. I feel like I have finally stepped out of my boring life, but adrenaline has a half-life. And by month 4, the cinematic illusion begins to violently decompose into actual reality. When you marry a stranger, you don't just marry the cute girl from the bar. You marry her daily habits. You marry her messes. You marry her family. The micro details start bleeding into everyday life. I am a deeply organized person. I need quiet to decompress after looking at patio furniture all day. I like things in their place. Judy is pure chaos. She leaves cabinet doors open in the kitchen, every single one of them. I walk in and it looks like a ghost has ransacked the place. She leaves wet towels piled on the bathroom floor, not hung up, just dropped exactly where she stood. She leaves her shoes in the middle of the hallway. She drinks half a cup of coffee and leaves the mug on the coffee table. She has to have the television blaring reality shows at maximum volume at all times just to feel comfortable in the apartment. Women screaming at each other on Bravo while I am trying to read a book. I try to ask her to turn it down. She says the silence makes her anxious. And then there is my sister Danielle. Danielle lives 20 minutes away in Scottsdale. Danielle is married to a quiet guy named Timothy who never speaks. Danielle is exhausting. She reads entirely too many self-help books. She insists on throwing us a family dinner to celebrate our union. She calls it a post-elopement integration meal. I tell her we don't need an integration meal. Danielle tells me I am resisting community support. She books a table at a crowded Italian chain restaurant. We get there on a Thursday night. The place is packed and loud. Danielle hugs Judy for way too long. She holds Judy by the shoulders and stares deeply into her eyes. I just want to validate your courage, Danielle says. Judy looks terrified. We sit down. Danielle spends the entire dinner asking incredibly invasive questions. She asks Judy how she is handling the trauma of relocating. She asks me if I am holding space for Judy's transition. I am holding breadsticks, Danielle, I say. Danielle glares at me. Your sarcasm is just a shield, Gregory, she says. You are deflecting because you are terrified of genuine intimacy. Timothy eats his spaghetti in silence. Judy tries to be polite, but Judy has a temper. Danielle asks Judy what her career goals are now that she has abandoned her tile shop. Abandoned, Judy says. Her voice gets a little sharp. I didn't abandon it. I moved for my husband. Danielle smiles, a terrible tight smile. I just think we need to be careful not to lose our individual identities in the rush of a trauma-bonded relationship, Danielle says. Judy drops her fork. It clatters loudly on the plate. Trauma-bonded, Judy says loudly. Half the restaurant looks over at our table. We fell in love, Danielle. Danielle sips her wine. I am just speaking my truth, Judy. You don't have to get defensive. Judy grabs her water glass. Her hand is shaking. She slams it down on the table. Water spills everywhere. Timothy moves his garlic bread out of the way. I am not defensive, Judy yells. You are just being a terrible person. Judy stands up and storms out of the restaurant. She leaves her jacket on the chair. I have to pay the bill while Danielle looks at me with pity. I see a lot of unhealed wounds there, Gregory, Danielle says. I tell Danielle to please shut up. I walk out to the parking lot. Judy is sitting on the curb crying. I sit next to her. I put my arm around her. We are a mess, but I still care. I tell her my sister is crazy. She leans against me. We go home and watch terrible TV. I think we are going to be okay. But then the bureaucracy starts. We have to get her on my health insurance. I go to my HR department at the furniture company. Janet is the HR manager. Janet has a bowl of stale peppermints on her desk. Janet tells me I need a copy of the marriage license. I bring it to her. She tells me she also needs a piece of mail with Judy's name at my address. Judy doesn't have any mail yet. Everything is paperless. We have to call the electric company to add her name. We spend 2 hours on hold with the electric company. The hold music is a saxophone playing the same loop over and over. We get her name added. We wait a week for the bill to arrive in the mail. We take it to Janet. Janet says now we need her new Arizona driver's license. This means we have to go to the DMV. We go on a Tuesday morning. The line is out the door. We stand in the hot sun for 40 minutes just to get inside. We finally get inside and it smells like floor wax and sweat. We pull a ticket. Number C214. They are calling number C80. We sit in terrible plastic orange chairs. We wait for 3 hours. I have to take half the day off work. We finally get to the counter. The guy behind the glass asks for her birth certificate. Judy freezes. She looks at me. I look at her. "Where's your birth certificate?" I ask. She starts digging frantically through her massive leather purse. She pulls out old receipts, wadded up tissues, a half-eaten granola bar. "I don't have it," she says. Her voice is panicky. "What do you mean you don't have it?" "I left it in the box at the apartment," she says. The guy behind the glass sighs. "You need the birth certificate, sir," he says. We have to go all the way back to the apartment. We dig through 6 unpacked cardboard boxes. We find it tucked inside a copy of Twilight. We drive all the way back to the DMV. We have to pull a new ticket. We fight the entire time we are waiting. "You are so disorganized," I yell at her, "because I don't want the security guard to kick us out." "I am stressed, Gregory," she yells back. "I am trying my best." We finally get the ID. We take it to Janet. She is finally on the insurance. But the real poison is not the paperwork. It is the finances. Because we were legally married, and because we wanted to commit fully to the bit, we did something incredibly stupid. We merged our bank accounts. I had roughly $45,000 in savings. I spent 4 years painstakingly building it, putting away a little bit from every paycheck. I didn't eat out. I didn't buy new clothes. I saved. Judy brought a duffel bag of clothes and $600 to her name. I thought we were a team, but then I start noticing the withdrawals. I check the app on my phone while eating a sandwich at my desk. There is a charge for $200 at Sephora. I stare at the screen. I refresh it. It is real. The next week, there is a charge for $450 at a boutique clothing store in Scottsdale. 2 days later, a charge for $150 for artisanal candles. I try to gently bring it up when I get home. She is standing in our small kitchen. She is making spaghetti. There is red sauce splattered on the stove. "Hey, Judy," I say. I lean against the counter. "I noticed a pretty big charge at that boutique today." She doesn't turn around. She keeps stirring the pasta. "Yeah, I needed some new things," she says. Her voice is tight. "I just think $400 is a lot right now," I say. "We are trying to build a life here." She drops the wooden spoon. She turns around and glares at me. She grabs a spatula and points it at me. "I uprooted my entire life for you, Gregory," she yells. "I left my friends. I left my job. I left my favorite coffee shop. The least you can do is not micromanage my coping mechanisms." I stare at her. "Your coping mechanisms are draining our emergency fund," I yell back. The frustration is finally boiling over. We have rent to pay. We have car payments. My Camry needs new tires. You haven't even started looking for a job here yet. I send her job listings for tile showrooms in Phoenix. She never applies to them. She says she needs time to heal. "I am stressed, Gregory," she yells. She throws the spatula in the sink. It clatters loudly. I am living with a stranger. The irony of that statement hits me like a physical blow. I actually step back. She is right. We are strangers. The Vegas magic is entirely gone. It has been replaced by the suffocating reality of 2 fundamentally incompatible people. We are legally bound together in a 1-bedroom apartment. The fights become daily. They are vicious, deeply personal arguments. We attack each other's characters because we don't actually have a foundation of love or trust to fall back on. We don't have years of memories to soften the blow. She screams and throws a Tupperware container across the room. It bounces off the wall and cracks. I shut down completely. I emotionally withdraw. I lock myself in the bedroom and stare at the ceiling fan. I listen to her crying in the living room. I want to go out and hug her, but I am so angry I can't move. Our apartment becomes a war zone. I dread coming home from work. I sit in the parking lot of the furniture store for an extra hour, just delaying the drive home. My car is filled with wadded up fast food wrappers because I stop eating at home. The breaking point happens exactly 6 months after we stood in that drive-through chapel. It is a Tuesday night. The air conditioning is humming loudly. I am sitting at the small dining table. I have my laptop open. I am logging into our joint bank account to pay the electric bill. The screen loads. I look at the balance. The balance is wrong. It is terrifyingly wrong. My stomach completely drops out. I feel cold sweat on the back of my neck. I click on the Recent Transactions tab. My hand is shaking so hard I double-click by accident. There is a pending transfer. It is for $12,000. $12,000. Gone. Just like that. My heart stops beating. I can't breathe. I push my chair back so hard it falls over and hits the floor with a loud crack. I run out into the living room. Judy is sitting on the couch. She is wrapped in my faded gray college hoodie. She has her knees pulled up to her chest. She is scrolling through her phone. The TV is blaring some show about rich women fighting on a boat. Judy, what is this transfer? I demand. My voice cracks. I am holding up my laptop. The screen is glowing in the dim room. She looks up from her phone. She doesn't even look guilty. She just looks annoyed. She sighs heavily. I transferred it to my personal account, she says. Her voice is completely casual, like she is talking about buying milk. What I say. Why would you do that? I have a massive credit card debt, Gregory, she says, from before we met. It was from when I tried to start a jewelry business that failed. It was going to default next week. The interest rate was insane. Since we are married, it is our debt now. I am just taking care of it so we don't get sued. I stare at her. The room is spinning. You took $12,000 of my savings without asking me. I scream. My throat hurts from yelling so loud. The betrayal completely shatters whatever fragile illusion I had left. That took me 2 years to save Judy. 2 years of doing nothing. 2 years of bringing peanut butter sandwiches to work. She stands up. She drops her phone on the couch. It is community property, Gregory, she screams back. She gets right in my face. We are married. You owe me that protection. You wanted this. You are the one who told me not to sign the annulment papers in Vegas. You are the one who wanted to be insane. You ruined my life by trapping me in this boring, miserable apartment with a guy who treats me like a financial burden. She is breathing hard. Her face is red. I stare at her. I look at the woman standing in front of me. She isn't a romantic, spontaneous soulmate. She isn't the quirky girl from the bar. She is a deeply irresponsible, desperate stranger. She is using my bank account as a life raft because she was drowning before she even met me. And I had handed her the oars with a smile on my face. I step back from her. I close my laptop. The click echoes in the quiet room. She reaches out to grab my arm. Gregory, wait, she says. Her voice breaks a little. I think she suddenly realizes how far she just went. I think she sees my face. I pull my arm away. Don't touch me, I say. My voice is completely dead. There is no anger left. There is just a massive empty hole in my chest. I want a divorce, I say. She freezes. She stares at me for a long time. The TV is still playing in the background. Someone on the screen is crying about a yacht. She crosses her arms over her chest. She lets out a harsh, cruel laugh. But there are tears in her eyes. Fine, she says. Her voice shakes. But I am keeping the money, Gregory. My lawyer will make sure of it. She walks into the bedroom and slams the door. I hear her pulling her suitcase out of the closet. I hear zippers. I hear hangers clattering to the floor. She walks back out 30 minutes later. She is dragging the heavy suitcase. She doesn't look at me. She opens the front door and walks out into the night. She is going to a hotel. I sit on the floor of my living room. I lean my back against the wall. I stare at the blank wall opposite me until the sun comes up and turns the room gray. The next 4 months are the absolute darkest period of my entire life. Danielle tries to intervene. She calls me constantly. She tells me we need to do a closing ceremony to release our toxic attachments. I tell Danielle if she calls me again, I will block her number. Timothy sends me a text that just says, "Sorry, man." That is the most Timothy has ever communicated to me. The legal process is brutal. It is slow. It is agonizingly expensive. Because we had commingled our finances and lived together, the state viewed all of my premarital savings that I had transferred to the joint account as marital assets. I have to hire a divorce attorney. His name is Errol. Errol wears suspenders and smells like stale coffee. Errol charges $350 an hour just to read my emails. He tries to stop her from taking half of everything else I own. Judy drags the proceedings out. She ignores emails from her own lawyer. She refuses to sign papers. She demands spousal support because she claims she sacrificed her career to move to Arizona for the marriage. I have to gather every single bank statement I have ever had. I print out hundreds of pages of documents. I sit on my empty living room floor, sorting them into piles. My chest hurts constantly. I don't sleep. I lose 15 pounds. My boss, Timothy, at the furniture company, asks me if I am sick. I tell him I am just dealing with some paperwork. The romantic comedy ends in a sterile, windowless conference room in a law office downtown. The carpet is gray. The walls are gray. There is a heavy mahogany table in the middle of the room. I am sitting on one side with Errol. Judy walks in with her lawyer. She won't even look at me. She sits down across from me. She is wearing a brand new dark green designer jacket. She probably bought it with my money. She looks tired. She looks smaller than I remember. The mediator is a guy with a bad comb-over. He pushes a massive stack of papers toward me. They have little yellow, sticky arrows pointing to where I need to sign. I pick up the heavy black pen. It feels exactly like the cheap blue pen from the family court in Vegas. I sign away the $12,000 she had already taken. The lawyer says it is cheaper to let her keep it than to fight for it in court. I have to pay her an additional lump sum of $8,000 just to get her to drop the ridiculous spousal support claim. I pay Errol, my lawyer, $6,500 for his time. I sign the last page. The mediator takes the stack of papers. He stamps the final decree with a loud thud. It is over. We are divorced. In total, a drunken Vegas mistake and a 6-month illusion cost me $26,000. It cost me my savings. It cost me my dignity. It cost me my entire sense of self-worth. We all stand up. We walk out of the law office into the hallway. We ride the elevator down to the lobby in complete silence. The doors open. We walk out into the bright Phoenix afternoon sun. The heat hits my face. Judy stops on the sidewalk. She finally turns and looks at me. Her expression is completely blank at first. Then her face softens just a fraction. She looks like the girl peeling the beer label again, just exhausted and sad. She reaches into her purse. She pulls out the spare key to my apartment. She holds it out. I take it from her hand. Our fingers brush for a second. It feels heavy. "Have a good life, Gregory," she says. Her voice is very quiet. She turns on her heel and walks toward the light rail station. She doesn't look back. I stand there on the hot concrete. I don't say anything back to her. I walk to my car parked in the garage. It is boiling inside. I get in and grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn completely white. I rest my forehead against the hot leather. I am 27 years old now. I am officially a divorced man. My savings are completely decimated. My apartment is half empty. The Tupperware is still cracked. There is a faded ring mark on the coffee table where she used to leave her mug. I have a permanent legal stain on my public record. I will have to explain to every future partner I ever have that I was stupid enough to marry a stranger I met at a casino bar. There is no silver lining here. There is no profound lesson learned that makes it all worth it. I tried to force a fairy tale into reality, and reality completely destroyed me. But I still have the green mug she left on the counter. I still haven't thrown it away. I don't know why. I just sit in the quiet apartment. The silence is deafening now. The keys are sitting on the counter. It was a complete disaster, but for a second we actually tried.